and Gilmore comes up with it.
The Patriots pregame show is the world's largest virtual tailgate, featuring fans of the six-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
Brady under center, gives to Michelle, runs it left, a dive to the end zone. Touchdown Patriots! Michelle for 6.
That's the offense I know. That's the offense we love.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to do the grilling as your hosts. This week, the Patriots are home against the New York Jets.
James White cuts it up with the right arm, cuts it upfield, driving forward, diving to the goal line. A touchdown and a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to get you ready for the game.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
Now, live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots pregame show presented by Dunkin'.
Oh, yeah, look at that field. Under gray skies in Foxborough, the New England Patriots will wrap up the 2020 campaign against the Jets of New York. Welcome into the Patriots pregame social, fueled by Dunkin'. It's Hardy, it's Mike Dussault, and it's Paul Perillo.
I like that.
That's quite the intro, right?
Well, I mean, we had the beautiful scene there. It was set for us visually, and now we are here audibly to convey the excitement of a Week 17 matchup between two teams who have 8 wins between them.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah.
All
Correct.
Right. There we go. Lot at stake here today, boys, so let's get into it. Let's start unpacking our suitcase full of Patriots nuggets and topics, and it's going to be something. It's going to be something here today. We will be joined by Dan Leberfeld of
that ought to be fun.
Jets Confidential. Why is that going to be fun? Do I know Dan?
I don't know if you have had the pleasure. I don't know if we've had him on the show since you've been our host, but Dan is a very sarcastic, shall I say, Jets supporter. He's an interesting character. Dan.
So
he's been doing Jets Confidential, I think, for quite some time.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what he's, entails now, but
so how does he compare to? Normally, we would have Manish Mehta on for a Jets week.
Him no more.
Paulie. Manish is kind of just outwardly negative about the Jets. A Jets fan, but
he's negative about aspects. Like he loves Sam Darnold, Manish,
right.
But he has no use for Adam Gase.
Right.
And he feels like the organization let Sam Darnold down by not putting the pieces around him. So there's a complicated relationship there. But Dan, I think Dan is sort of, I don't know if he necessarily is adversarial to the team, but he's not always what you would expect from like a team side employee. He doesn't work for the team. I think Jets Confidential is an independent organization.
It sounds like it.
Got to whisper, I think. Jets.
It's confidential. Yeah. It reminds me of that Jerry Lee Lewis song, High School Confidential. In case you didn't know that Jerry Lee Lewis might be a bit of a creep early on. He had that, that hit single, High School Confidential.
Did you marry his underage cousin?
Yeah, underage. She was 13.
Cousin.
Deal. All right, so
cousin.
Dan Leberfeld will be joining us here at 11 o'clock this morning. We'll get to our final over-unders of the season, our Sunday Pick 6. We have good games today. Some fun games to watch.
Implications.
It's interesting how many games have seeding implications. I don't know if it necessarily worked out with the extra playoff team in terms of keeping more teams involved, but it has definitely worked out in terms of keeping a lot of games with meaning. Yep. Like from Pittsburgh and Buffalo with the number 2 seed, is something as maybe as minor as that, as the games in the at the bottom of the conference with all of the NFC East teams. If Washington wins, they're in. If not, it's the winner of Dallas and the Giants. There's a lot of games like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of variations. That Washington one is the one I just chuckle at because
whole divisions.
They can even get in today and not win. They can get in with a tie depending on
if the other two teams tie.
It's so much to keep track of. Just can we just talk about it tonight? Just tell me tonight.
But
where everybody's going.
The fact that the Washington football team could, is there a way they could go 6-10 and still get in, or do they have to win today?
I believe if they lose and Dallas and the Giants tie, the Dallas and Giants would be.
I lost track.
I lost track.
5-10-1, right?
Or maybe Washington has to tie.
No, I think that would be I think Dallas and the Giants would be 5-10-1 if they tied.
Okay.
And 6-10 is better than 5-10-1.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for limiting the playoff. And I know everyone says more is better. Let's get more. Let's do extra weeks in the regular season. And not everybody, but a lot of people would automatically knee-jerk say, yes, more regular season games, more playoff teams, more football. Extend it out another couple of weeks at the very least. I say this thing is pretty damn near perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
I really, really push back on the idea of adding certainly playoff teams and even like regular season games. If you want to swap out 2 preseason games for an extra regular season, okay. To me, that's a great trade, and I'll take it. I would rather you just lose 2 preseason games or 3 of them.
Yeah.
You want to play one? Fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any desire for an expanded regular season. I wouldn't be terribly disappointed if they just decided to make it 8 playoff teams on each side, and then eliminate the byes. But I understand. I understand that people feel like that's watering it down. So that's okay.
It's not watering it down. Right now or up until now, you very rarely had bad teams in the playoffs, like bad teams.
Right, and you want to get bad teams out of the playoffs? Eliminate the divisions.
Well, that would be part of it.
Because that's the only way bad teams make the playoffs.
But,
a bad division winner is the bad team that makes the playoffs.
Washington is almost certainly going to get in.
Right.
And they're a bad team.
Right. Yeah. So eliminate divisions, and you eliminate a lot of the problem. Like, you're going to have a very good chance that an 11-5 team is going to finish 8th in the AFC.
It is really weird, though, Paul, that, after all these years and, decades of the National Football League, things that were put in place because of, the time we lived in, in the early 70s and, going back to the 60s, too. These divisions were there for a reason. Geographically, it wasn't as easy to travel, and there were other factors at stake. They don't apply anymore.
Yeah.
There's no need to have divisions and have winners from divisions. Do you want the best teams or not?
Yeah, and I know that there's going to be, if we keep with the wild cards, Mike, you keep adding teams, and you're going to get 7-9 teams and 8-8 teams. That happen. I know. It's going to happen. I just feel like the bye to me is what I want to eliminate.
Totally, and that's what I don't like about right now. I like 16 games. It's
too.
Nice and round. I like 8 playoff teams or 6. I just don't like this one team with a bye. I think that's what I'm going to be watching for this playoffs is, how do those teams fare, and is it just going to be a case where you get that bye and you're just kind of sitting pretty for 2 home games to get to the playoffs or to get to the Super Bowl. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm just looking at it now. There's 4 spots up for grabs in the AFC and 3 in the NFC. So it's been competitive, and I think in recent years, especially with the Patriots, some of those teams you're just like, this isn't going to be interesting at all. That first divisional game, whether it was like the old Texans teams, but now I feel like there's some intrigue, and maybe it's thinned out a little bit.
Like right now, and Mike, you have it in front of you. Maybe you can help me out here, but it looks like it's something like 2-7 could be Buffalo, Cleveland.
Yep.
3-6 could be Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And 4-5 is something like
Tennessee,
Miami. Okay, would you look at those games and say, the visiting team has no shot?
No, I would not think that.
So I
those
think
are all compelling games.
And I do also I don't like to make these kinds of decisions based on a 1-year window. I would definitely submit to you, as on your side, the people that don't want to expand, this is an abnormality. There's the haves and the have-nots in the AFC this year. So there's a fair amount. I would say there are 8 good teams in the AFC, and I don't think that really happens a lot.
Yeah.
Usually you might get 4 or 5 good teams, and then the rest are 9-7s, 8-8s. And, you're just filling it out with teams that are going to get killed.
One kind of thought on that is, and we talked about the advantage of home field kind of being eliminated this season. I wonder if that has something to do with it, where, there's just not the home field advantage this regular season that there was. And so some teams, were just a little bit, teams that maybe were younger.
Maybe some of the weaker teams that used to be able to win some games at home didn't.
Yeah.
I wonder. That's a good point. But even if you look at it the 8th seed, Hardy,
yes,
would be the Colts. If the Colts were playing at Kansas City tomorrow in the quarterfinals, would you say that the Colts have no shot?
Yes.
No shot.
No shot.
Okay.
And
I'd give him a shot.
And I tell you what, I heard you talking about Baltimore earlier in the week, Paul.
Baltimore.
And I think Baltimore-Pittsburgh is always compelling. You know, if one of the teams
it's one of the
winless.
very rare division matchups that is always worth watching.
I don't think Baltimore has a shot. I know you like Baltimore this year.
A shot to beat Pittsburgh?
Now Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh.
I don't think they have a shot to beat Kansas City.
No. But yeah, Pittsburgh, just with the way Pittsburgh is playing. But I'm just talking about overall.
They're better than Pittsburgh, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They should have beat them when Pittsburgh was playing at their best.
You love Baltimore. I heard you talking about it on the TV set.
On the
Why
television.
don't you calm down about Baltimore, Paul?
No, they're limited. Baltimore's limited, and they're banged up to crap on defense.
And I think they're really immature still, and I think they've got some real issues
I agree with you on that,
with
too.
knowing how to play the game properly at times.
Yeah, they're one of those teams, though. They get a lead on you, like the game unfolds right. They're tough.
All they got to do is get a stop early, and have Lamar go down and score, and then they play the game the way they want it to play.
Right. Yeah,
but now, conversely, all that has to happen is the other way happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Here?
It's like hinges on that first score. That's everything we were just talking about.
Yeah.
All right, we got to do the keys. Let's go.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now, just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are Hardy, Paul, and Mike's keys to the game.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. Keys to the game are brought to you by Hardy, Paul, and Deuce. Without these keys, the Patriots are doomed. Doomed, I tell you. We're going to start with Paul Perillo. Your key to today's game, Paul.
Well,
do you need to look it up?
Scurries through here. No, here's my thing, and I was trying to be a little bit, kind of snarky. Can we make some plays in the passing game today? Whether that involves Cam Newton or Jared Stidham or whoever else that happens to go out there and play at the quarterback position for the New England Patriots. I've seen enough of we can run the ball with some success offense, and that's just not really doing it for us.
Yeah.
So they have to try to find, I'm looking at small things, Hardy, right? I look at Week 17, 6-9, eliminated against one of the worst teams in football in the Jets. I want small things. What do I want today? Somehow, some way, entertain me a little bit, right?
Give us something to watch.
Give me something to watch. Well put, Hardy.
All right.
I like
so
that.
I say throw the ball a little bit. Let's do something we haven't done in any of the other 16 weeks of the season.
I love it. That's a great key for today.
I love it.
What do you
and in many ways, mine echoes that on the defensive side of the ball, which is get to Darnold. And,
yes.
I think there's no denying the Jets have the better quarterback today. So Patriots pass rush non-existent last week. No QB hits. No sacks. I mean, it was just, Josh Allen had all day in the pocket. So same thing. I think if the Patriots are going to have a chance to kind of contain this, they got to get to Sam Darnold. I mean, we know seeing ghosts last year. Not expecting ghosts this year. Not resurrecting anything, but and it's unfortunate Uche can't play. I would have liked to have seen him. But, guys like Chase Winovich, Shalik Calhoun, just like to see them in the backfield making plays. Don't let Darnold, find some rhythm in the passing game, because I think if he does, it's going to be some tough sledding for the Patriots.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier. My key was going to be the same. Like, you blitz Darnold, get to Darnold, pressure Darnold. There's so many issues right now with the Patriots secondary, and the fact is he's still a better quarterback than I think what you have today. Yep. Like, I would like to see that. I think it would be entertaining, but my God, could that go poorly? If he gets a quick release and he's able to find an open downfield receiver and they start sending pressure all day, this could get ugly. So I like the key, and I almost went with it, but I couldn't make a compelling argument for it. Like, what happens if this happens? Well, then you're screwed, and that's a terrible key. So instead, I just went with I heard earlier, it may have been Fred actually, on one of the shows earlier this week.
Went with it?
Yeah. I said,
It's got a feel for the league.
Well, Fred said something to the effect that this could be a really low-scoring game, with just ineffective offenses, like 12-9, I think he said, this game could, end up being today, which would be awful, Paul, for your key. Not entertaining.
I know. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
But if that's the case, win that third phase of the game. Belichick has, years talking about winning in all three phases, offense, defense, special teams. Well, okay, if neither team is able to move the ball, if the Patriots defense does have some success in pressuring Darnold, if the Patriots offense continues to be what it already is, then go back to what you were able to do against the Chargers and a couple other times this year and really get out there, make some plays on special teams. It doesn't necessarily have to be, returning punts for kickoffs, but I think there are going to be a lot of punts today. So do well on both sides of the ball. Do well when it comes to anything having to do with your special teams play, because I think that, a game like this that could end up being, a field goal affair. Well, now you're talking about special teams again.
Yep.
Win the special teams matchup today, and I think you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance.
All right.
All right? I lost this thing over here. Hold on. You may have to pull them up for it. We're going to go behind enemy lines before we do anything. Let me try and do
know the view from New England.
We go behind enemy lines.
But what about the view from the other side?
Well, I'm doing great, even though I miss being there with you guys.
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
I got him. We have him here. Dan Leberfeld joining us now as we go behind enemy lines. Dan is with Jets Confidential at Jets Whispers. Dan, it's Hardy and Paul Perillo and Mike Dussault. Thank you for joining us, Dan.
It's always great to be with you guys.
Appreciate it. We were sitting here talking about the matchup here today and the keys to the Patriots' victory here today, and really debating, Dan, debating whether or not this is going to be an entertaining game. Are these two teams going to give us something to watch today?
Well, I think they'll give you something to watch. I don't know if there'll be a lot of scoring based on the touchdown totals from the quarterback position in terms of both teams, but I think it'll be entertaining. I want to see, even though Stephon Gilmore is out from the secondary, I think let's see what Sam Darnold can do against a defense that he supposedly saw ghosts against last year. It's still the same scheme, even though some players are out, so let's see what he can do as far as diagnosing what he's looking at better than that ghost game.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you, this morning Adam Schefter is reporting that the Jets are expected to make a big trade this offseason. No big question of whether they trade Sam Darnold or the number 2 pick, but what's just kind of your feeling going into this offseason with that number 2 pick, and how do you think the team feels about Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance they'll trade him. I think after watching him for 3 years in terms of the amount of film, I think they pretty much know who he is. And I think a change of scenery will probably be good for him. So I think they will try to trade him, and I think they'll pick a quarterback and probably bring in a bridge quarterback until the kid is ready, whoever that might be. I don't know if they'll pick that player at 2, or they'll trade down, or they'll pick that player at the end of the first round with the first-round pick they got from Seattle for Jamal Adams. So I don't know where they'll pick the quarterback of the future, but I think they'll have a bridge quarterback. Maybe it's Joe Flacco, who played fairly well for them this year when Darnold was hurt, and he showed he could still play. So maybe Joe Flacco would be the bridge quarterback in terms of that situation.
So, Dan, what would you expect the Jets to be able to get for Darnold if that were the case?
That's a tough one to discern because what does he have, 8 touchdowns on the year? But there's a lot of teams.
That's a bounty compared to what's going on here.
Yeah. So
show off.
He's got issues related to reading defenses and going through his progressions, like a lot of young quarterbacks. So, may the buyer beware on that one. But there's a lot of teams hungry for quarterbacks, and sometimes, when you look at it, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Some other GM or owner in another market will say, "Oh my God, Sam Darnold, let's go get him." So perhaps they'll overpay. I wouldn't overpay. I would say we're talking about a middle round pick as far as my worldview because of the issues reading defenses. But if he goes to a team that has like a McVay type offensive mind, like the Rams have, who's consistently dialing up great first reads, he can make all the throws. The problem with Darnold is when the first read isn't open. So if he goes to a Shanahan or a McVay that have a reputation of just dialing up tremendous first reads all the time, I think he can have some success. But personally, I'd give up a middle-round pick for him.
Dan Leberfeld from Jets Confidential on with us. Dan, are Jets fans upset right now about the Jets winning a couple of games here?
Yes, they're very upset, and I've heard from a lot of them. I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff on social media. Very upset. They feel they blew a chance to get Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. I don't know if that view changed based on the Ohio State game, but that really upset them that the Jets went out and won not just one game but 2 games and took them out of the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So, yeah, fans were very, very upset about that. You just have to wonder with Jacksonville, when Jacksonville, saw what happened with the Jets winning a game, and then they had that situation where that 1 week where Doug Marrone said, we're going to have Mike Lennon and Gardner Minshew compete for who's going to start Sunday. I wonder if that was a decision that was kind of window dressing to get Glennon out there, because I think that Minshew, whatever you think of him, and he did beat Indianapolis earlier in the year, I think Minshew gives him a better chance to win. So I don't know if you guys thought that also, or if anyone's throwing that out there, but I think that the decision to go with Glennon in Jacksonville was to make sure they got the first pick of the draft.
One more for me, Dan. We're kind of both in the same position here today with the two teams are rolling out there. Just curious if there's any young players under the radar, guys that you're actually interested to see that maybe can build something for next season.
Yeah, the corner Bryce Hall out of UVA, picked in the 5th round, would have been picked a lot higher if not for a broken ankle his senior year for the Cavaliers. He's a guy to keep an eye on. Obviously, Quinton Williams hurt, but he really came on this year at the defensive tackle position. Chris Herndon, the tight end, had struggled earlier in the year, but he's really come on as of late, so he can end up being a core player. And obviously, the 1st and 2nd round picks, who it looks like Joe Douglas, the relatively new GM, hit out of the park with Mekhi Becton, the left tackle out of Louisville in the 1st round, and Denzel Mims, the wide receiver out of Baylor in the 2nd round. Both look like players. So those are some guys I'd keep an eye on today in terms of young Jet players.
Yeah, Dan, I guess along those lines, what do you think, going forward here? How long is this process, do you think, before the Jets can be legitimately, say, knocking on the door of being a playoff contender?
Yeah, that's going to be difficult without knowing who the quarterback's going to be next year. But
that's exactly how we answer that question.
Yeah, it's really hard to answer when the most important position in the sport is unclear at this point. I just think with all the draft capital they have, and I think I'm one of these people getting tired of that phrase, draft capital. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's overused. But they have 2 first-round picks this year, 2 third-round picks because of the Jamal Adams trade. And let's not forget, in the 2nd and 3rd round, their pick is going to be at the top of the round, along with the 1st round. So those are really high picks in each round. So I love the top of the 2nd round because you're essentially getting a first-round player because your board will have players rated differently. So some first-round talent on your board is going to be there when the Jets pick in the 2nd round. So a lot of good draft picks, a lot of cap space. But the most important thing is because if you have all that stuff but you don't have the right guy pulling the trigger, it could be meaningless. Joe Douglas is really good. The Jets knocked that hire out of the park. If people want to be critical of Adam Gase for so many different things, they should give him credit for getting that guy in the building because he's good. I mentioned Becton in the 1st round, Mims in the 2nd round, Bryce Hall in the 5th round, and there's some other picks that could emerge who were kind of redshirted this year. So I think with Joe Douglas making all these decisions on all these draft picks and with the free agent money, I don't think the Jets rebuild is going to take that long based on the guy making the decisions.
And how about the coaching situation?
Yeah, that's going to be huge as far as that decision. Clearly, reading all the tea leaves, I don't come out and say Adam Gase is going to be fired because I don't know that, but we all assume it, and there's been some reports on that, and it's kind of like a pretty good guesstimate at this point. But when you look at the next coach, they need a program. I know this is all cliche, but a program builder, a culture builder, a guy who commands the room. A Bill Belichick, a younger Bill Belichick, meaning that a guy that is maybe from the college ranks, but like Belichick knows how to build a culture and build a program. So somebody like that, maybe a college coach, a guy that showed that he's won and knows how to build a culture. Culture is the buzzword here with the Jets. They've got to build a strong football culture. So that's got to be the type of guy they hire. So I don't think they should be going down the road of hot assistant coach who's never proven he can be a head coach. Every hire they've made since the Johnsons took over the team has been that hot assistant coach, hot coordinator, and it's never led to sustainable success. So to me, they need a proven commodity. They can't go with the quote-unquote hot coordinator at this point.
I wonder how much of it is tied to what happens at the quarterback position, too, because I know a lot of people have blamed Adam Gase for Sam Darnold and his inability
He's blamed
to.
himself.
Yeah, and he's blamed himself. But, I mean, I'm not saying that the two are married together or somehow that if Darnold's going to stay, then you got to get rid of Gase. I mean, if Darnold leaves, what are you going to do? Make history repeat itself? Bring in another quarterback and have this happen all over again? I guess for me, Dan, it all points to Adam Gase probably not being there.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there. I hedging the bet just because I don't like to say it like it's fait accompli without knowing for sure. But I think we all assume it's over. And so Joe Douglas needs to he's going to make the decision. I mean, ultimately the owner will have the final say, but Joe Douglas is going to lead this search. And what has gotten the Jets in trouble in the past is having business people involved in picking coaches. I mean, one of the great things Mr. Kraft did in New England was when he said, you know what, I'm going to take it back off. I'm going to focus on the business side. I'm going to hire a football genius and let him do his thing. And that's what the Jets business side needs to do. Let Joe Douglas pick the coach. He knows so many coaches. He knows what to look for. So I think that's what you'll see this time around. They know they have to allow Joe Douglas to make the pick.
All right.
As far as the coach.
Right. We got to get a score prediction here from you, Dan. What do you think?
I'm going to go with New England because I still think Darnold is going to, even though the Patriots have some injuries, I just don't think Darnold, even if backup defenders are in, the concepts of the Patriots defense give him a lot of trouble. So I think that's still in place. I think it's going to be very close. I would say Patriots 2017.
All right, I'll take 2017. Yeah. You get some football played out there.
That could entertain me.
Yeah, that would be entertaining enough. All right, Dan Leberfeld, you can read him at Jets Confidential and follow him on Twitter at Jets Whispers. Dan, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Anytime, guys. Happy New Year. All the best to you and your families.
You too, Dan. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Take care. There he goes, Dan Leberfeld.
I would give a mid-round pick for Sam Darnold in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that there are teams that will definitely be willing to do that. But I just wanted to get his he's pretty definitive that they're going to.
Yeah.
They're going to move on. He sort of sounds, we talked a little bit about how Manish feels about the situation. He sort of sounds like he's coming from the opposite side. He's very pro Joe Douglas and feels like it's been Darnold who is keeping them back, not necessarily those around him. But I asked the question about the rebuild, because you look at obviously what Buffalo's already done and what Miami looks like they're in the middle of doing, and then are the Jets even a little bit further along? With the guys that he mentioned, the Quinnen Williams, the Mekhi Bectons of the world, Denzel Mims. I don't know if I'm putting too much into it, but that Monday night game that they played when Flacco played against the Jets, middle of the season, it was Mims, Perryman, and Crowder, and the Patriots had no answers that night for those three. It was like, wow, those are three pretty good receivers, and two of them are pretty young, and you're like, yeah, you could do worse than that.
Yeah.
And maybe Darnold might be the guy, and who knows? Maybe you draft the other tackle, the kid from Oregon who sat out all year, Sewell. Penei Sewell, I think Sewell is something like that.
Big tackle.
So all of a sudden you get bookend tackles for your offense. They need some corners, and I know he was high on one of the fifth-round pick out of Virginia.
Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
There's been a lot of talk about the trades, and that Demaryius Thomas trade is really the only one anybody can think of between the Patriots and Jets. I don't know.
I know it's a weird kind of I don't want to say necessarily a mirror image, but the Patriots kind of young pieces you got to search. I mean, Damian Harris and some guys in the secondary, J.C. Jackson, but I feel like the Jets have line guys. Big Becton, Williams. And that's kind of like my thing. I'd prefer to have those core pieces in the trench that you're going to have for a while. And plus they have the quarterback. So it's just it must be crazy for other Patriot fans. It's crazy for me to hear, I get rid of Sam Darnold for a mid-round pick. We'll just go with let Joe Flacco be the bridge quarterback next year. I mean, that's steam coming out of my ears imagining that. So it's just
See, I would just look at it. I'm totally with Mike. If you want to just have a bridge quarterback for next year,
Sam Darnold.
Let Sam Darnold be the bridge quarterback. It doesn't cost nothing.
Yeah.
Have a brew. Don't cost nothing.
Yeah.
Just let him be the guy next year. Draft a guy wherever you want to draft him. It's not like they need to make a trade to get that spot to draft somebody. So why not
just let him compete?
Keep Sam Darnold. Let him be this. Tell him you're the starter next year.
Yeah. And
then whoever you draft, you have him.
Yeah, would that be the last year of his deal too? Maybe.
Because I assume they wouldn't pick up his 5th-year option in that situation.
Yeah,
although
there you go.
again, it's like this is not.
If it's a
big
bridge
money,
guy, you
right?
don't care about winning, and you'd like to put it keep him, have him do it.
Yeah, I'm with Mike.
I don't know.
If all you're going to get is a mid-round pick. Now, if you could get like a 2nd-round pick or something, that's different. But if you're going to give him away for a mid-round pick,
yeah. How about the comp 3rd pick you get for Brady? Just flip it to them for Darnold.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect symmetry.
Yes, lest anyone think that the Jets are ever going to trade Sam Darnold to the Patriots. That's well,
hopefully they feel like
two times. Two times now you're trying to put a hope into
we got Joe Flacco. What do we need Sam Darnold for?
It is.
It's gonna be a fun offseason.
And I tell you what, it is some kind of state that we
find the season.
We find ourselves in here in New England where you're just if only
what
the Jets would trade us Sam Darnold.
So evidently there have been
want the Jets cast.
There's been some talk in some of these pregame shows that no surprises here, but Cam Newton is to be a one and done here in New England.
Oh,
I forget exactly who. Both sides enjoyed their relationship, but both sides expect that it will take them in a different place and different direction in 2021. Is one of the quotes that I read. I think it's coming off of like Adam Schefter from ESPN and their parts of their pregame shows. But I mean, again, no real surprise there. I mean, we've been talking about there's no way we feel like he'll be back. Pro Football Talk, Adam Schefter, Patriots and Cam Newton are expected to part ways after one season together. So, just sort of puts a report out there with what we've been feeling all along. I mean, these are the kinds of things I just kind of like to use my eyes to tell me. If Schefter actually has like some information, he's spoken with somebody, great. It adds a little bit to it.
I have never bought in to people who have said, especially in the last couple of weeks, well, I'd probably give it like a 65% chance that Cam Newton is here, either as the starter or as a backup. I still don't think Cam Newton is going to go anywhere and be a backup. That's number one. Yeah. And number two, I don't think he's going to be here in any capacity. They gave it a shot. I thought it was working. It did work for a little bit. It worked a little bit at times. But overall, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, is it the weapons? Would he have done better? I don't know. That's for another team to figure it out. It's not going to be the Patriots. I made up my mind on that, and I've been at peace with it for several weeks now. It's not happening.
I like Paul's idea going back to the Redskins. If he wanted that, I mean, I think that'd be a spot, like as Paul has pointed out. And I think I'd just be interested to see if he went back to an offense that he's run before, if it looks way different, because it looks right now like Cam's done, be it physical, be it he can't pick things up here, whatever it might be. It looks like he's, on the back end and close to the end. So that would be the only thing. If he still wants to play and he goes somewhere and it looks better, that would be kind of interesting twist to me.
All right. Let's go to the phones here. 855-PATS-500. We'll get them rolling here on this Patriots pregame social. Fueled by Duncan. We'll go to Jason at London. Hello, Jason.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I got a question. Do we want to lose to the Jets even though we hate them?
Do we want to lose to the Jets?
I don't want to lose to the Jets, but if they do lose to the Jets, I'll relish the higher round draft.
Yeah, I mean, you move up a couple of spots maybe if you lose, but I mean, there's not a lot to be gained at this point.
Right now they're at 15. They can't go any lower than 15.
Is that true?
I believe so.
I think so. Yeah, I saw 10 to 15 was the range.
Well,
10 to 15 is the range?
They can't drop to 16, 17, something like that. Okay. But they could, look, with a loss today, move up a spot or two. The highest they can move up, I believe, is 10th. Yeah. But it would take all kinds of crazy stuff happening.
Right. So more than likely, you're going to be like 13 if you lose.
Yeah. So it doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference to me, Jason.
So do we want that chap Brown? Hold on, my foot goes around.
Bloody hell was that?
So do we want that chap Brown from Alabama? He seemed to throw a good ball.
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Jones is tough to evaluate in my mind because his players around him are just so damn good. But, I mean, unbelievable production there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable production.
I mean, I think the success of Alabama quarterbacks plays into a little bit, but like Paul said, I mean, I think he's not a first-round guy. You know, I don't think he's a first-round pick. He's not a guy that you can expect to come in and start immediately. He's another kind of Stidham developmental guy.
But it looks like he's going to be.
You know, yeah. Teams get desperate there.
I wonder if the only thing about him, and I kind of got into this a little bit, and thanks, Jason, but I wondered a little bit about this with the guys from the schools. We talked about it with Ohio State, and you know, we had a caller this week. You know, got to beware the Ohio State quarterback, and I'm like, well, give me the list of the Ohio State quarterback busts, and it's basically Dwayne Haskins. Like the other guys before him, well, like Mike said, well, you know, let's go to Alabama now. Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron. Like, those guys weren't first-round picks. They weren't pedigree kind of picks. You weren't taking those guys thinking, this is going to be my next guy.
Right.
Tua is now the example of the Alabama quarterback. If he can't play, that's a strike against the Alabama quarterback. You know, 5th overall pick, he needs to be good, right? Mac Jones has some size to him. He has some pedigree, put up, you know, some big numbers in college. If he can't play, that's a strike against the Alabama quarterback. Like, to me, you know, like Ohio State, you're looking at guys in the past like Cardale Jones and Troy Smith, and those guys weren't considered to be blue-chip prospects coming out of Ohio State. You know, Troy Smith was like a Heisman winner. It was a great college player. You know, Braxton Miller, great college players.
Yeah.
You know, but they weren't considered to be first-round picks, and they weren't. They didn't get taken in the first round. So, to me, this is a little bit different. I think you could just say, well, those Ohio State quarterbacks never work. Well, have they ever had one like Justin Fields? I don't know. Like, I mean, my question is, let's see what Justin Fields does before we say Ohio State quarterback, because this is going to be the highest that one of these guys ever gets taken.
Yeah.
So if he stinks, maybe there's something to the Ohio State quarterback thing.
Yeah.
The Alabama thing scares the crap out of me because he's going to be going to a team almost definitely with less receivers than he has now.
Crazy, crazy. Like you're going to see, and you can't say it across the board. You can't say it about the linemen. You can't say it about the tight ends. You can't say it about anything else. But the receivers, almost certainly, he will have less
and it's
to
not
throw
just
to
that.
with an NFL team than he did in college.
They're 2 first-round caliber players. And they're also playing against teams that don't have first-round caliber cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's even more accentuated.
And it's not like his athleticism jumps out. It's
No.
his ability to get the ball out quick and just to get, make good decisions, get the ball in guys' hands. And like you said, I think that's the hardest thing to translate. At least with Tua, you knew you had a degree of athleticism that would maybe help him a little bit at this level. But I don't know. I'm not really super psyched about any of the quarterbacks other than like the first 3 or 4 of them, and then after that I think you've got issues with everybody.
CJ in Kansas City joining us now on the Patriots pregame social, fueled by Duncan. CJ, what's going on?
Hey guys, what's up? It's first time caller but long time listener, and
excellent.
Just wanted to kind of add on to what you guys are currently talking about with Justin Fields' option as a quarterback. I know that Megan has pretty strong opinions about Ohio State quarterbacks. The pedigree that comes with that, and just wanted to see if your guys' mind changed. I know it's only one game, but that was a pretty solid effort there in the Sugar Bowl, and wanted to get your guys' thoughts about him and see if anything changed.
Yeah.
Have our minds changed on Justin Fields? Mine hasn't.
Yeah.
Mine
Well,
hasn't. I think he's terrific.
Paul, you've kind of been pretty consistent with being open-minded about it, but
I think he's terrific, and I have for 2 years.
My mind didn't change because that was the first time I saw him. I thought it looked really good, though.
That was pretty much my response to it.
Yeah.
I think I've seen him play twice.
Just sit around, watch Ohio State football on my Saturday. Do you know how much
I believe in CJ?
Do you know how much I work, CJ?
CJ, do you know a lot about the field situation? And I'm asking seriously.
Yeah, so a little bit.
Like I always wondered how Georgia could have let him go. Like I think he's terrific.
Yeah, I think that, again, my family and I, we grew up Ohio State fans. My dad's from the area.
Okay, so you're more on
followed
that side of it
forever.
then. Okay, all right.
I am. Yeah, I'm biased. I'll give you that. But
no. I think he's tremendous. I was just looking back at it. He starts at Georgia, and they stuck with Fromm, who I thought was extremely limited, good, solid college player, but didn't have this kind of potential that Justin Fields has. And to me, that was. I think Kirby Smart cost himself a chance to win a national title.
Look, one game, yes. What I watched on Friday, that looks like a guy who steps in week one NFL, and even with bad receivers, looks something approaching like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he plays it, and I think there's two guys that I've seen that fit that description, and well, we know who the other one is. All right, CJ, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. You can also email the show, webradio@patriots.com. Gentlemen, there's an exercise I'd like to do with you today.
Oh.
And it is a little, you're going to have to subject yourselves to some pathological honesty.
Ooh.
We're going to go through the AFC East teams. I want you to hearken back to what you thought about these teams before the season started and what you think about them now. How right or wrong were you about each of the AFC East teams and a handful of other teams from around the league? All right?
Okay.
Sure. All right. So let's have a little bit of fun with it here.
A little round.
Okay.
Fun. Let's have fun with it.
Let's start off with the Miami Dolphins. Deuce, what did you think of them before the season started? What do you think of them now?
Yeah, I really like Brian Flores. I mean, I think the way they ended the season here last year, showed what direction they were headed. I was a little bit not as impressed as I thought I might be by Tua, and granted, he had a lot going on this year and was back and forth. So, but I think Brian Flores is a real good coach. I think he's got the makings of a real good defense down there. I think he knows what he wants, and I think they're going to be a real tough team for years to come. I think it just comes down to offensively, settling into what they want. I think that's the biggest thing they need to kind of catch Buffalo. But I like them. I think they're going to be a pain. Whenever you got to play Brian Flores, he's going to be a game plan defense kind of guy, just like the Patriots are, and I think he'll give the Patriots a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think that they, on paper, are probably a little bit ahead of schedule of where I thought they'd be. I thought they would be like an 8-8 team, 7-9, 8-8, somewhere along those lines. I thought Fitzpatrick would play more than he did. I thought they went to Tua a little bit sooner than I thought. And I feel like they're like the rebuild, like they're right in the middle of their rebuild.
Yeah.
And I think they just happen to be winning a lot of games as they're turning over the roster. They still have some holes, but they put out there for running back. It looks like they have a good little all-purpose guy in Gaskin,
Yep.
but they have they tried to bring in Breida and Howard. Howard was a disaster. Breida looks like he's decent, giving him a little something. But I'm with Mike.
Third overall pick. I mean, they should be able to get
Brian
another
Flores
impact
though.
player.
Like I thought he looked pretty good last year. Yeah, sometimes guys can impress you. They got nothing. Oh, they played hard for the guy. And all of a sudden you think, oh, he's a good coach. Well, I've been even more impressed with him this year, with his ability to sort of have the timing of when to take Tua out and not lose anybody in the locker room. I think he clearly has established something there. But I think they're still a ways away, well behind Buffalo.
Record-wise, they're right at where I thought they would be. I'm surprised that it was as inconsistent as it was. I thought they would be kind of that, you would see the same effort level. You'd see the same personnel in. The fact that they're switching in and out of quarterback. And, that first game against the Patriots was a bit of an anomaly, I think, for how the rest of the season went.
Yeah.
But, record-wise, they just got there a different way than I thought they would. How about the Buffalo Bills? What did you think of them before the start of the season, where they are now, Deuce?
I was, wondering, they have all the pieces. Can Josh Allen make the next step? Can they put it all together, and can they kind of live up to expectations? That was my thought going in, and I think they nailed it. I think they had a great season. Josh Allen, took the steps that he needed to take. Diggs was a slam dunk. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's rare that a personnel move that works out that perfectly, but this one did. I mean, it's just everything they kind of needed. He gave them a whole new dimension of explosiveness, and even made Beasley better. really starting to come on with the running backs that with Singletary and the one that they drafted this year, him coming on as well. So I think they had a great season, and I think right now they're the class of the AFC, is deservedly so. And I think it was highlighted what they did last Monday night here. Came in against a Patriots team that was kind of their bugaboo for a long time. They didn't even blink. They just put the hammer down and beat a football team that they should have beat.
Yeah, I thought they had the ability to do what they did this year, but I'm going to be honest and say I didn't think they were going to do it. I just feel like I probably still looked at them like it's Buffalo.
Yeah,
they'll lose 2 or 3 games that they shouldn't.
I thought the same thing, and there was only one team that I was more wrong on than the Buffalo Bills, and we'll get to that in a second. But in terms of the way Buffalo has played, they have been that consistent team that I didn't think they had the ability to beat.
I thought they had the talent, and I think Mike put it perfectly when you just didn't know exactly how Josh Allen would progress, and I don't think any of us saw him progressing like this. But I thought he was better last year, and I thought he had a chance to win some games. I just figured they would find a way to, stumble. Like I'll tell you, there were a handful of games that impressed me. The game that they went early in the year out to Vegas and beat the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Just sort of a good, tough, solid win, and they find a way to win it. Games like that they impressed me. Even though they lost the Cardinals game on that fluke Hail Mary, finding a way to come back and win that game. They went ahead in the last 30 seconds of that game with the great throw. Those kinds of plays really impressed me. Those kinds of performances, and I didn't know if they had that in them. So I thought they were gonna. I thought they had the chance to win the AFC East. I didn't think they would run away with the AFC East like they did.
We'll get to the other 2 teams in the East here in a few minutes, but first we got to take care of our DraftKings picks for the day. DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. Today you can play free for a chance at over $1 million in total prizes. First deposit, download the app, play free for over $1 million total prizes on DraftKings, a leader in daily fantasy sports. Paul Perillo, who'd you pick?
I took J.J. Taylor. Little running back came in last Monday night. Haven't really seen much of him at all, and I thought he showed the same kind of burst that we saw way back in September when we last saw him playing with any kind of regularity. $4,000, so not exactly getting the bargain that you think you might get with a guy like J.J. Taylor, under the radar kind of guy, but I think that the Patriots will give him some carries today, give him some opportunities. Maybe even in the passing game he gets some opportunities today. To make some plays against the Jets defense that's been on its heels for most of the season. So I think J.J. Taylor gives you an opportunity to make some bank today.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. And I thought it was interesting, Bill Belichick, kind of comparing him to what Damian Harris did in his first year of kind of having a redshirt year, which I just thought was an interesting comparison compared to, where they picked Harris up and, J.J. was an undrafted rookie. So, and I see that we have our inactives coming through right now.
Oh.
So we do know Shaq Mason, David Andrews are out. D. Virgin will not suit up, still in testing protocol. D'Angelo Ross was elevated to the 53-man yesterday, but will not play. Terez Hall, Brian Hoyer, Anthony Jennings. So definitely thin at linebacker. I think that Cash Maluia activation he might play. But Jawan Bentley's back. Lawrence Guy is back. Those are some guys that should help in terms of the, not having those second-level depth. But definitely thin when you look at, the second level. Cash, Jawan Bentley, Simon Winovich, and Shalik Calhoun, kind of it. So we'll see how they manage. But otherwise, that'll be it. We'll see who starts along the offensive line as well. Maybe Jermaine Illuminor at right guard. That's kind of what I think.
All right.
So.
All right. Very good. Lucky for you, Sony Michel not among the inactives because that's who you picked for your DraftKings player.
That's correct. Thank you for getting me back on track there. So, yeah, I mean, as Paul said, I think there's one thing you can rely on. He's had a couple good games the last couple weeks, 10 carries in each of them. Felt like he could have done more. I think he should get into the end zone. I mean, I think that's why I'm making the pick. I think he's a goal line. We'll see how they kind of divide up the carries, but I don't think James White's going to get a ton of work. I'd love to just see kind of Sony, J.J. Taylor, Paul's guy, getting the majority of the carries.
Here's what I don't understand about you two, and they are legion, the things I don't understand about you two. Perillo.
Oh, us two. I thought you meant the band you two. Sorry.
No,
okay. Joshua
Why
Tree.
Under a Blood Red Sky? Why call it that? Why call an album Boy and put a picture of a boy on the cover? I don't understand you two. No, I don't understand you and Perillo. Perillo wants an entertaining game today, right? He wants to make plays through the air. So who's he pick for his DraftKings player? He He picks J.J. Taylor. You say, get to Darnold. Do you pick the defense for your DraftKings? No. You pick a running back. For me, at least, I'm somewhat consistent in that I want to win the third phase, but beyond that, it's not contradictory to say, I'm going to take Cam Newton today.
Okay.
Because I just want to see him air it out.
Yeah.
I want to see him go out there and play like it's his last game ever as a New England Patriot. Because you know what? Today is his last game ever as a New England Patriot. So go out there and play like that.
Yeah.
Chuck it all over the field.
Right.
Run the ball. Go crazy. This is his last audition for another job next year. Go out there and be the Cam Newton that we all thought you were going to be.
Yeah. It's Cam Newton.
When you showed up healthy at training camp and you were the starter and named the starter and Bill Belichick said he's our quarterback, go out and be the quarterback today.
Yeah.
Chuck it. Run it.
Loose.
Run that team. Cut it loose. Be you, baby. Today's
you
the
get a
day.
dog.
Yeah, got to get a dog. Go out there and be a dog today.
Yeah.
This is it. This is your last chance, Cam. This is your last chance, and it's a big, big job interview. If you want to keep playing this game, this is it. Today's the day. Go out there and show, you know what? Shackles off. I don't care. What am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get in trouble in film study? No, I'm not playing for this team anymore. I'm the quarterback for this team for one more game. I'm going to show everybody in the league what I can do so I can get a job next year. That's why I picked Cam Newton today.
I like it. I love your rant, and you're right. And I mean, it would be, I guess, kind of disappointing if he just kind of went out there and slung it all over the field and was like, where was this guy all year? But I think that's been part of his game this year. He's just been in his own head. You can see the hesitation and not taking it when he should take it, realizing he should have and then, as I've said many, many times, trying to throw it twice as hard to make up for that kind of lack of, decision-making quickness. So, but yeah, just offensively, I think we're all kind of, I think there's a period in the middle of the season where each game you're kind of like, well, maybe today we'll kind of put it all together. And then you kind of started to realize that it is what it is. This is the offense. And if they can't, get points early and kind of be in control of the game and run the ball, it's a grind for them. It's hard for them to catch up. And I think with their game plan, especially last week, you can tell they're just, pulling out the fake plays right at the top. Just, get in the end zone on that first drive. And, that'll put us in a position to play from a spot of strength. And they just haven't been able to do enough of that this year. So, like you said, I know there's a lot of guys out there that have been preparing all week, preparing hard. Like, they don't even realize they're not even in the playoffs. So, we'll see what they put out there. But I think the Patriots are gonna turn in an effort today.
All right. We're going to step aside here, and we will continue with the pregame social, which is fueled by Duncan. I always do it. I do it every time.
I was probably right behind you this morning, in the drive-through. I ran in. No? Route 1?
No,
you got your local?
I got one inside a Shell station over there in Canton.
Yeah, all right.
I go into.
But
order ahead on your Duncan app, especially today. $1 medium coffee when you order ahead on the Duncan app. I did it from home.
I did too.
And right there, I'll go pick it up here in a couple of minutes. It's great. America runs on Duncan. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Order ahead on the Duncan app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Duncan fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
Please, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes. You look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount!
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
This is the place to play for $1 million in week 1. DraftKings, land of the millionaire. Football is back. Time to let your competitive streak. Download the app and take your shot at $1 million. DraftKings.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Johnny, euphonic.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Big game. We're trying not to be sarcastic about it.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Back here on the Patriots pregame social, it's Hardy, it's Mike Dussault. Paul Perillo stepping out to take care of his obligations with the Patriots radio network.
Yeah.
Where
shaking your head on that one like you didn't quite believe it. Like,
got a little thing going on here in my throat, trying to jar it loose.
at least he's back here with us.
I got a half a munchkin stuck in my throat.
Me too. I got little foot
Yours?
clemps.
What? No, you did not.
I want big boy.
Did you house that donut during their
Housed it.
break?
Yeah,
I don't know
7
if
seconds.
I don't know if you've noticed. The breaks here are incredibly short this season.
You got to hustle.
Unbelievably short. So Deuce opens up the big box of donuts. He gets the frosted with sprinkles, and he says, "This is going in here in 45 seconds."
Oh yeah. Oh, that's more than enough time. I got it. No problem.
I mean,
Guy in a little coat.
Look at there's the remains, and I'll be housing a couple more of those because hey, it's the last game of the season. I'm gonna treat myself.
So a couple of weeks ago, I took
Right.
that pink frosted one with the sprinkles on it, and I kind of knew that Marine Matt takes those home for his daughter, and I didn't care. I just wanted it.
Yeah.
But I felt shame, so I didn't eat it last week, and hopefully nobody will eat it this week, so you can take it home.
We didn't get one this week, so it's okay.
What's that?
We didn't get one this week. It's okay.
The pink one?
Yeah, we did. It's right there.
Pink frosted.
No, she needs the one with the snowflakes on it.
Oh.
She's spoiled.
Oh.
She doesn't do sprinkles. She needs snowflakes.
My kids will only eat the pumpkin munchkins. That I mean,
That's it?
you want to talk about spoiled? If I bring them home like assorted munchkins, and it's out of pumpkin season, or there aren't enough pumpkin ones in there, they're like, eh.
They got pumpkin year round now?
I mean,
No.
they last for a long time. They should seriously. It's probably
We bought
like
these last year.
it's like 4 or 5 months out of the year, but the rest of the year they don't care about. They want pumpkin
Pumpkin.
munchkins.
Get it.
September, October, November, December. Yeah, you can still get them right now. I'm pretty sure. Pumpkin flavor, by the way. No thanks.
Yeah, I'm good. You're a blueberry guy. Come on, we know you. We know you.
Oh yeah, that's me, baby.
The bloobs.
That's me. All right, so today the Jets are in town.
They are.
The Jets are one of these teams that people have very strong feelings about. If you're a lifelong Patriots fan like you, Deuce, do you hate the Jets as much as you hate any team?
It's a good question. You know, I feel like your hate always goes most immediately to like your direct. You know, the team like I really hated the Colts when Peyton Manning was there. I really hated the Jets when Rex Ryan was there. You know, and
Yeah.
and
I
I
know
find
you
them
did.
slightly less hateable. You know, with Adam Gase, and they've been terrible, and you know we haven't really had a good rivalry with them. But I don't know. I'm in a new place now because it's different Patriot season. We're not going to the playoffs, and I guess I'm stuck without someone to truly hate. I don't really hate anybody. I kind of like feel like, hey, the Bills and the Dolphins, they've done pretty good. Like I don't want to say I'm proud of them, but I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird place.
I don't hate the Bills. I've always got that weird sense of like worry with the Dolphins because the Patriots have lost weird games to them
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
But there's something about the laundry with the Jets. I just see the Jets out there. I have no respect for it.
Who did you hate at the Lions? What did you hate growing up? Did you have like a
The Lions.
Well, that's a lot of Patriot fans too.
There was no rival. There was no team that you hated.
No, we just who do you root for? We don't really root. We just hate on our team. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a thing to do.
I tell you the two teams that I hated in the 80s and 90s. Growing up in Detroit as a Detroit sports fan, I hated the Celtics.
Yes.
And I hated the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
Like
There was some brawls between the Red Wings and the Avalanche.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they
like
were.
the Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, those guys.
It was Claude Lemieux busting Chris Draper's face up
I remember
against the
that.
boards.
Yep.
And then when McCarty went to fight him, he completely turtled
That was
and
Claude
wouldn't
Lemieux.
I mean, just not a bad hockey player, but a fundamentally bad human being.
Oh yeah,
you know
that's why he was out there, just to be a total pain in the ass.
And Patrick Waugh was really good, but I hated him too.
He's hateable too, and he was on the Canadians. Yeah,
but none of it really approaches my hate of the Boston Celtics. I mean, you want to talk about a team that I hated.
That's why you came here. You're like,
hate it. It was like one of my better moments when I actually got to tell Danny Ainge, in a conversation with him, how much, and I'm sure he's gotten this over the years, but you feel the need to get it off your chest when you're talking to somebody. It's like, just so you know, I thought you were the devil. I really thought you were some kind of evil incarnate when I was watching you as a kid. Like, just daggers, and just, and I didn't say this part to him, but just that ferret-faced, whiny. But then he would chuck up a 3 at the worst possible moment, and in the games against the Pistons. I hated him and that team.
I got a good story along those lines. I got to meet Michael Strahan when I was living in LA. We developed a show for him for Fox called Brothers, and he was coming in for the first meeting, and this was in 2008. Okay, so like he had just retired after they had won the Super Bowl, and so Strahan walks into the office, and I'm kind of the only guy there, and I had to greet him, and so all that could come out of my mouth was he walked in, and I just was like, I'm a Patriots fan. And Strahan started laughing. He was a great guy, and he like without missing a beat, he was just like, "Well, we both hate the Jets." So he was a great guy, but it was that was all I could mutter to him after that disappointing loss in 2007.
Is Mike telling stories?
Oh, we were both telling stories. And by the way,
meeting sports figures we hate.
It started with the Jets, and I'm going to ask you this stuff too, Paul. We got to do our over-unders here after we talk to Patty. Can we talk to Patty first, Marine Man? All right. But then I want to ask you about this too. Just, for the record, Danny Ainge I find to be now one of the most likable people in all of Boston sports. I think Ainge is a classy guy and a friendly guy and as honest as he can be.
I sat with Ainge more than a few years ago now, more like 15, at a Northeastern basketball game, and he was really, really nice. He was watching Perillo. That's how long ago it was. But he was really like, sometimes, hey, I'm working. I don't want to.
Right.
Like, he kept,
initiate conversation.
He kept the conversation going.
Yeah.
Like, my brother and I were like, oh, I just went, he just happened to he plopped like right next to us.
Did you introduce yourself as Paul
did
Perillo
he know who we were?
No, and I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't.
Not a Patriots fan.
All right. Let's go.
Well, this was a long time ago,
before,
before
you had your juice.
This is when I was just Paul Perillo.
I understand. Before you were Paulie.
Right.
Patty and Agawam, what's going on, cousin Patty?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Patty? We missed you.
I know, man. It's been a rough year for me. Not like as with the virus, just starting the new job at Pepsi, and I've been working my ass off pretty much all year. I'm with Paulie, where I cannot stand the Dolphins. I think the Jets I hated in that 2010 playoff game, and that's about it, because they've been a joke, let's face it. But I wanted to bring up something that I heard Escal say on the radio this week, which is thought this team is kind of bereft of talent, which I think there's certain squads like running back, defensive back. I think we got a decent young stable of linebackers, but the biggest glaring weakness that we really haven't seen in the past 20 years with this team is, number one, we need a good edge guy. I mean, I'd be willing to sacrifice Sucking next year if we can get a stud on the defensive line, a guy that can actually set the edge and just, make running backs think twice before they try to cut outside. And wide receiver, I mean, we need an upgrade. I think if we're going to, who knows what they're going to do at quarterback next year, but those two things over the last 20 years, I don't think we've really, we've seen Deion Branch and Givens early in the dynasties, and Randy Moss, of course, and Welker, but we haven't really drafted great wide receiver talent or a good edge guy. And I wanted to see what you guys think about that, and screw the Jets. Let's beat their ass today.
All right. Thanks, Patty.
Yeah, just to touch on the edge guy, there's such a specialized defense right now, and I was looking at it this morning. John Simons played the most snaps of anybody in the front seven. I don't think they really have one guy who can play all three downs. So I agree on the edge spot, and I'd take it one step farther. I think I would say, in terms of the draft, just get a three-down player, whether it's an off-the-ball linebacker, whether it's a defensive end, whether it's an inside guy who can play all three downs and be disruptive and stout. So I agree. I think you look last year, Collins, Hightower, Van Noy, they were all every down players, and it reflects in the amount of snaps that they played. And this year you look at the totals for what guys play, and it's just it's a mix. It's like 40 to 50% everybody. You're just rotating guys in. Uche, those guys are all specialized guys right now. So either they have to develop into three down players, you got to find some on the defensive side of the ball.
The edge guy, to me, is important. They need someone that can impact the game up front. Someone that the offensive coordinator needs to go into the game and say, we need to account for him. They haven't had a guy like that.
No. They haven't. And it's, one of the other things, we always talk about what you can get away with not having offensively when you had Tom Brady here. There was a lot you could get away with defensively, too, when you had Tom Brady here.
Yeah, because you had leads, and you knew you could go after the quarterback, and you could do the stuff that they did with the linebackers last year, as an example. We can, run some stunts and some tackle end games, with those guys, and you can manufacture pressure. And they did it very well last year.
Yeah.
Doing it that way, but it's harder when you're not always winning the game.
They kind of did it the first game or two this season. Maybe the first game that was kind of it. It was like, wow, they're manufacturing what they kind of produced last year, but as the season went on, it fell apart.
All right, Marie Matt would like us to get to over-unders right now.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
I haven't checked the season totals. I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to catch you guys. Depending on what happened last week. It all hinges on what happened last week. Matt?
Last week we had Paul going 5-1, Hardy 3-3, Mike 2-4.
Ooh, I don't think that's enough. So season totals?
On the season we have Paul 57-33, Mike 56-34, Hardy 45-45.
Yeah, so it'd be difficult even with a perfect week last week.
The kicker thing killed me last week.
The kicker thing?
Yeah, and you said the kicker will miss a kick, and I was like, no!
Oh, yeah,
that's
one. Right. That's right. All right, well, this is it's just about pride, just trying to win the last week, which is what I'm going to try and do here. So let's get rolling here. What do you have for us, Matt?
Cam Newton passing yards, 55.5.
Okay, well, I will start. I will start, and we'll take it around the horn that way. You missed my award-winning. You're going to submit it for some kind of Webby.
It'll get a Marconi.
A Webby award on Cam Newton and why I chose him for my DraftKings player today, Paul. This is it for Cam Newton. This is his job interview for every other team for next year. This is
when he says that he'll come up with something, he really does.
He does passionately.
This is his chance
with fire
to show the world it wasn't me, it was them. Go out there, be the gunslinger today. Chuck it all over the field. If you see an opening, take it. Yet play like it's your last game for the New England Patriots, because guess what? It's your last game for the New England Patriots. You want to play quarterback in the NFL? Today is the day, your last chance to show people that you can play quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Go out there and be a dog.
Yeah, throw for more than 55 yards.
And if you're pissed off from last week, like we all thought you were standing there on the sideline when Stidham went in, man, I can't believe this. Go out there and be a pissed off dog today. I got a dog.
So you got the over?
I wouldn't let my dog play football. I'll let a pissed off dog play football.
It's the long way to Grandma's house.
So I'm going to go under.
Are you taking the under?
No, I'm going over.
Yeah, I'll take the over too. 55 is just obnoxiously low. Yeah. I think he'll.
I'm with you. I'm going to take the over too. It's just it's too. It's
you
too
said
small.
75, maybe, but no, I'll give him 55.
You said 60.
We're talking. Yeah.
All right.
Jacoby Myers receptions, 3.5.
Deuce.
Jacoby, yes. I think he's gonna. I want him to finish strong today. Have a few catches. Really liked what he did this year. One of the few bright spots on offense, and I'm excited to see what he kind of develops into next year, maybe with a quarterback who has a little more chemistry.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over too. We had a big game, I think, on that Monday night. Comeback win way back when, so against the Jets. I'm going to see if he can do it again.
I, too, will go over. Cam's got to throw the ball to somebody today.
All right. Sam Darnold completions at 19.5.
Paul, we start with you.
I'm going to take the under in this one just because I'm going to go with Dan Leberfeld's. There's something about the way the Patriots play defense, not necessarily the Patriots defenders, that bothers Sam Darnold. So I'm going to take under.
I, too, will take the under on this. I think they're going to take the game to Sam today, and they're going to get after him and rattle him early.
Yeah,
maybe
I'm gonna
force him into a run game.
I'm going to take the over. I think Sam Darnold's pretty good, and I think the Patriots are missing a lot of guys. And based on the last couple weeks of how teams have torn this team apart through the air, I'm going to say Sam Darnold's going to have 20 completions.
All right, moving on.
Sticking with the Jets, Jamison Crowder receiving yards, 52.5.
Yeah, based on what I just said, I got to go under.
Yeah, then I'll go over.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that. I think Crowder's a guy that gives the Patriots some problems.
How many Patriots quarterbacks will we see today? One in a hay.
I'm going to take the – is it my turn to go first?
Yes.
I'll take the over. I think you'll see something like last week where they both get some time.
Under, baby. It's going to be Cam Newton's day.
Yeah, I'm going to go under 2. I think they just let Cam close it out.
And wrapping up with the total as we always do, 39.5. This is the lowest total of the season.
Really? I'm still taking the under.
I'm still taking the under 2.
Yeah, I mean, 2017 sounds when Dan said that earlier. Our guest there on the behind enemy lines, Leverfeld, he said 2017. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a fun game to watch.
And I said, touchdowns.
We're all going under.
Yeah, we're all going under.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Matt.
Right.
Appreciate it. There we go. Welcome to join us here, 855-PATS-500. Webradio at Patriots.com. Get to some of these emails in a moment. I asked Deuce while you were out of the room there, Paul, how much he hated the Jets, and if we've talked about this before. He hated Rex Ryan and that version of the Jets. You hate the Jets?
No, not like Miami. I hate all the division teams because they're division teams, but I never really.
What do you hate the
felt
most?
Miami, far and away.
See, Miami is the one that makes me the most nervous.
Like in the 70s, they could never beat them.
Right.
And then the whole Orange Bowl thing, and then Dan.
You
Marino.
go back a lot farther,
right?
Than Deuce
and then Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Deuce.
Yeah. Big
Dan
Drew,
Marino.
Dan Marino.
Should run now. I did
out.
like the Ace Ventura thing, and
I
they were
know.
like, "Whoa,
I missed one. That's.
I heard that earlier this week, and I will not support, but at least stand with anyone who is not a fan of or has even seen Ace Ventura. I've never seen it in its entirety.
It's not a good movie.
No, it's too much. I think Jim Carrey's fine. It's too
much of him.
I get it.
Yes, I get it.
Oh, you're funny. You make the wacky faces. It's too much.
Yeah, but when he was new on the scene, it was oh wow. But now it's.
The fireman Ed or fireman whatever. It's like it's too much.
They're all kind of very close. to
I
each
never
other.
laughed out.
Let me
loud
show you
at
something.
Any of that stuff. Yep. Nope.
Cable Guy.
Yep.
Cable Guy. I kind of
strangely dark.
Cable Guy has moments and scenes and situations that I think are funny.
Yeah.
You're hurting my soul right now.
Well, the Ace Ventura
was way better than the Cable Guy.
But it's all like it's just too cartoonish.
Yeah.
Cable Guy is like situationally, it's like that's kind of funny when he shows up at the pickup game. Like that's funny.
I want to pull a hammy. Yeah, that's a good one. I love that. That's one of my favorite jokes.
He's running their suicides to warm up.
Stop. Yeah, I'm in. I love it. I love it.
All right. So you don't hate the Jets as much as Miami, Paul.
I don't.
What team do you hate the most out of any team?
I think right now I hate the Bills the most.
Pittsburgh.
You hate the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Okay, and out of any team, any sport, what team do you hate the most?
Ooh, Canadians.
Yeah. Yeah, Canadians.
I like that.
The Lakers.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that too.
Canadians or the Lakers.
Good one. Good one.
I guess I'm just a townie at heart.
Yeah. It's easy to hate the Canadians.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. All right, let's get back to our AFC East conversation. What you thought of the team before the season started, what you think of them now. Where do you cover the Dolphins and the Bills? Let's move on now to the Jets. Mike Dussault. What did you think of the Jets before the season? What do you think of them now?
Yeah, I mean, I wondered if they were going to take some strides with Darnold, if, Gase was going to start to put the offense together, and I feel like they're still just kind of mired in a circular, thing where it's parts are falling apart, other parts aren't developing. They do have a couple pieces, as Dan pointed out, with, Becton and offensively, and Williams on the other side of the ball. But I feel like there's no chemistry. There's no and that's probably why they're gonna have to blow it all up again this offseason.
Yeah, I thought that they had a chance to be better. And I think they went like 7-9 last year.
It wasn't this.
But it was some kind of plastic wins down the stretch. It really didn't matter. I think they caught a couple of playoff teams that didn't need the game, and they ended up winning those kinds of games. And I think you deceive yourself into thinking you're a little bit further along than you are. They hit rock bottom. They should probably have at least a couple more wins. And at 4 wins right now, maybe you're not looking at it the way that you do. But I thought they'd be more like a 5-11 team, Hardy, and they've been pretty bad.
I mean, I thought the AFC East was going to be a rock fight. I really did.
You thought they were going to be part of it?
I thought everyone was going to be a part of it. I thought you had a legitimate chance to have a really interesting fight between these 4 teams. So Miami, about where I thought, a lot of these teams would finish. The Bills are obviously better. And I was wrong on the Jets. I thought the Jets would be in the mix, and they're nowhere near the mix.
Yeah, the Dolphins surpassed them, and I think that's a testament to Brian Flores' coaching and understanding what he wanted and cleaning things out last year and getting the guys he wanted. And they've got another ton of draft picks this year, so it's crazy how the Jets just seem continuously in this cycle, and a team like Miami can kind of bottom out and get back on their feet before the Jets even can figure it out. And they had Sam Darnold. They had a quarterback that they could have maybe made some strides with. But
well, as much as I like to be reductive about a lot of things, including hey, if you got the quarterback, then you got, and they had the quarterback. I know. At the beginning of the season, I said, well, say what you will about the Jets, but they have the best quarterback in the division.
You might have thought that, right? Yeah.
And I still don't think he's bad, but obviously, Josh Allen has taken, steps, to, put aside any of those notions. But is Darnold a bad quarterback?
Well, that's why listening to Dan talk at the top of the show, he just seems so dismissive of him, and kind of like we talk about Cam Newton, whereas I don't think
Darnold's
he can't
bad.
process. I think he's good too.
I still don't think he's bad.
And that's why we've talked, for the last 2 months when it kind of looked like it wasn't going to be Cam next year, and every Patriot fan you talk to is like Sam Darnold, nobody's closed off to him. So it's just interesting to see. I guess the grass is always greener, but when it comes to quarterbacks, It's just so hard, and you could feel like you got a talented guy who's got all the boxes checked, but just something's missing, and now they're gonna blow that up and go to the next guy. So it's just a tough cycle to break out of, and hopefully the Patriots can avoid it.
You just brought up our last team, the Patriots. The Patriots. I mean, today's game, we know the outcome doesn't really matter all that much. I think they might be able to show us a few things today, either way. But what do you think of this team before the start of the season? What do you think of them now?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
Paul, you want to go first?
This is going to sound like know-it-all-y, and it's not meant to come off. The Patriots have been pretty much what I envisioned. Where I went wrong was I thought Cam Newton would help. I thought before they signed Cam Newton, I thought this was a 5-11 or a 6-10 team. And when they got Cam Newton, I thought, okay, well, now you've lent yourself some legitimacy. You'll be able to win a couple of more games than you thought. You're going to be in the race for the division as a result. I still thought Buffalo was better, but I thought maybe Buffalo would come back to you and choke a little bit, which is where I was wrong about Buffalo. And then ultimately it just didn't work out that way. Cam Newton has never given them really a chance to win any of the games. I don't think that you can really make an argument that they won maybe beyond the very first game.
Against Miami.
A game that they may not have won with somebody else playing quarterback. So he really wasn't worth much more than just maybe one game. And I think you could make an argument that his inability cost them a chance to win some other games. Now, that doesn't mean if Stidham played, they would have had a chance to win, because I'm not saying that. I think Mike says there's a lot to unpack. I'm going to let him start unpack some of it. There's a lot of holes in that roster. A lot of holes that people, the 10-6, 11-5 crowd didn't really want to look at the holes in the roster. They just wanted to say it's the New England Patriots. They'll find a way, and Bill will out-coach everybody. Right. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, great points by Paul on the offense, and I was the same way. I mean, I thought, going into the season, 6 to 9 wins was kind of, and when they got Cam, gave him, the benefit of the doubt on a couple other ones. I think, I just touch on the defense and the special teams. I mean, you knew there was turnover on defense. I think we thought the secondary could help that transition a little bit, but I think what we kind of discovered was that no secondary is great if the front can't stop the run in some games, and in other games like last week can't get to the quarterback, can't disrupt anything. And I think that just illustrates where they are rebuilding defensively as well. I didn't think they did enough up front in the offseason. Bo Allen move didn't pay off. The Carl Davis move was, backfired as well. Really missing beef up front, and I thought that just the run defense was just where I thought it fell off a cliff. And I will say, though, the special teams were great this year, and I think they had to be great. Credit to Cam Acord coming in, first-time coordinator taking over for Joe Judge. He's gotten, great performances from your guy, Nick Folk. Jake Bailey makes the Pro Bowl. Matthew Slater, Justin Bethel. So I think they needed that to get to 6 wins where they are. I don't think they would have gotten there without that kind of special teams play. So, some credit to those guys, but it's hard to say anything other than they were disappointing, even for where we kind of thought we were going and where we were starting. I still feel a little bit disappointed. The run game showed some things here and there, and I think that's something to build off of with Damian Harris and Jacoby Myers in the passing game. There were a couple positives, but I still think that there's way more work to be done than pieces that you think, hey, we got this and we got it set.
When Tom Brady was here, we talked about the fact that they were going to their 9th Super Bowl and they had a chance to be 6-3 or 5-4. In those Super Bowls, and what a difference that is.
Right.
What a contrast that is to say that you won twice as many as you lost, or you were about 500 in the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
For this team, and again, how things have changed. Is there a big difference when we talk about this team in future years between saying they were a 7-9 team or a 6-10 team? To me, there is a difference. It feels a tiny bit different, Paul, in years to come. And again, you have to project yourself now, 5 years from now. Talking about 2020, the COVID, the Patriots were 6-10. That just sounds bad. 7-9, again, you're approaching 500. You're almost there. 6-10.
You can deceive yourself into doing anything you want.
I'm asking you to project. They're bad.
Yeah.
After today, if they're 6-10, this is going to sting for a good long time.
Yeah, it's not going to sting any more to me than the season in general. Like I said, I think that they have so many holes, and they're just, to me, they're a long way away from those other teams.
Yeah, that
we talked about. You saw it Monday night. You saw it Monday night, like how far away they are from the Bills.
Yeah, I agree. It's what's the real difference? But at the same time, losing 3 straight in the AFC East. Especially losing to this Jets team at home. And I know we're going to field a second preseason game roster out there today. But, there is something to be said for going from the dominance that you've had over this division to then closing off this season, letting each one of those teams beat you. And let's face it, the last 2 pretty convincingly, Yeah. So if they were to lose this game convincingly, it would be that would sting a little extra.
And I don't want to just see them get killed and
no.
I grew up here. This is my team. I don't want to see them get killed because I say, what's the difference 6-10, 7? No, I don't want that to happen. But the point is, the 7-9 isn't going to make 7-9. It's not bad. No, 7-9 to me. I've said this many times. I think they're a lot closer right now to 4 wins than they are 8 wins.
Yeah,
they have 6. To me, they're closer to 4 than they are 8.
That's what's hard because I always saw 6 as that's the low bar for me. And to hit the low bar,
that hurts.
There's something low hurts.
This week has been so weird. Paul said, you saw that on Monday night. I'm like, why? What was Monday night?
You were here.
Oh, it feels like 2 weeks ago. And it's just, who knows?
Right?
I don't know up from down anymore.
I don't know from soup.
I don't know from emails until I open them up here. Webradio@patriots.com. This is from Stefan. Hi, guys.
Georgievich.
First, let me wish Steph Georgievich. First, let me wish you a happy and healthy New Year. All right, blah blah blah. Wow.
Take your pleasantries and
the only seasons in which the Patriots have missed the playoffs in the Belichick era. Okay, we know those.
2000, 2002.
Brady was not
2008.
Okay, Brady was not in uniform. This year, Brady has taken the Bucs from a 7-9 to an 11-5. The Patriots will be 7-9 or 6-10. I think Coach Belichick has something to prove next season. I think it will show that he can win without Brady, and he will have to show that if he's still got it and the game has passed him by. What do you think? I think that started this year. I think that already started for Coach Belichick. I think he had something to prove that he can win without Brady this year. And after, one marking period, first report card, no. That's that you gotta what do you get? I just and that if you're going to reduce Bill Belichick's goals to making the playoffs with or without Brady, then no, you failed. That's an F.
Yeah,
you didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's 1 year, and this was I was pretty consistent with this way back in the off season. I think it's too late to sort of have these conversations that everybody's having. I think Belichick isn't going to be around long enough, I don't think, to prove that he could do it without without Tom. Yeah. And Tom is 43 years old. Like I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And then people are going to say, "See, you couldn't win the Super Bowl without Tom."
Right.
They will.
I know. They just go back and forth,
it's coming.
Right.
Right. You know it's coming from your boy's going to do it.
Yep.
Fitzy will be one of the ones doing it. Like he couldn't do it without.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it without Bill, and what's he ever won without Bill? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's too late.
Okay. And by the way, there's your guy, Sony Michel. There, Deuce.
Demir?
Oh, well, it was previously on the screen before. The conversation
Here's
about
my guy.
There he is.
JJ.
Paul's got JJ Taylor today. He spent $4,000 on him. Mike got Michelle, by the way, for $4,600 with his DraftKings pick. I have yet to see my guy. Is Cam out there? I spent $5,500 on Cam Newton today. I think anybody with a reasonable brain in their head, in the whole, was it Brady or Belichick? It was both. It was both.
Of course it was.
To be like,
but
see, and I know it's boring. I know that's boring and it sucks, but
I think it's
accurate.
No, I think but it's fun to also look at it and say, well, Brady's doing it with that buffoon down there in Tampa, and he's got more weapons down there. But all right, edge Brady. I don't think it's unfair to give the edge to Brady right now.
I don't think it's unfair. I just think that it's probably it's one of those things that I think we could all agree. Brady wouldn't have won 6 without Bill.
Now you say Bill's not going to be here long enough. What if they get Matthew Stafford next year and figure out a way to get a receiver along with him?
And they do what?
Go 7-9.
Then you say it's Bill. I mean, it's Tom.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So he will be around long enough.
I just don't think that's going to happen. That's all.
All right. Well, but we're playing what
I'd like to see him be able to rebuild his roster. Is what I'm looking at. He's not going to be able to rebuild the roster in 1 year.
All right. We will step aside here and then continue with the Patriots pregame social and your phone calls. 855-PATS-500.
Order ahead on the Dunkin' app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Dunkin' fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
Ready or not.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side.
This is the place to play for $1 million in week 1. DraftKings, land of the millionaire. Football is back. Time to let your competitive streak. Download the app and take your shot at $1 million. DraftKings.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
What does Russell Wilson say he is, Mr. Unlimited?
Yeah.
I'm going to be Mr. Unlimited Positivity today.
I like that.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Yes, in answer to your question, Deuce, tomorrow I have plans to either put together a mock draft or slam my pecker in the car door 600 times. I think I'm probably...
I'm going to go with the latter.
I'm going to go with the latter.
Yeah, that'd be less work.
Mock draft.
There's your guy. There's Cam.
There he is.
Feeling it.
My DraftKings player. I'm telling you, today's the day. Just go out there. Like there's no tomorrow, because there's kind of no tomorrow. Unless you make a tomorrow today. Huh? I saw that on a poster hanging in someone's office once. The man standing at the edge of a cliff with some climbing gear.
Like a cat with one paw on the thing. Like,
That's
hang in there.
God. All right.
Stop it.
So we're gonna watch a football game here today between the Patriots and the Jets. Call and talk about it. 855-PATS-500. Email the show webradio@patriots.com. Let's go to Chudder's here in Manchester, UK, who emails the show. Great to see Mr. Perillo looking relatively happy and mostly healthy. It is good to. I was so happy to walk in and see Paul here today.
I know. He's back, baby.
It was nice to be missed.
Which players can actually have a meaningful impact, positive or negative, on their future today that could affect some off-season decisions? That's an excellent question, Chutters.
Ooh.
Which players could have a meaningful impact, positive or negative, on their future today that could affect some off-season decision? Now, for Cam, I don't think it matters. I think he has a game of his life today. His time with the Patriots still done. So, it has to impact their future with the team.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go with some of the younger guys. I mean, for the most part, I think everybody is kind of what they are at this point of the season. But maybe a guy like Michael Jackson who got promoted, maybe he sees some snaps. He was a guy in training camp that they brought in, and remember getting in a tussle with N'Keal Harry. He actually brought some fire out in N'Keal Harry, which kind of stood out. And we haven't gotten to go hee anymore. So
I think he had a good camp.
He did. He was an aggressive guy.
Seems like it was like 2 years ago, but
we were much younger then. But I don't know. Is Cash Maluia going to play some linebacker today? I mean, that's what they're.
I just feel like I think it's an excellent question. I do. I just think it's almost an impossible question to answer because I don't think it works that way. I don't think guys come out and they play in the last game of the year and they're like, oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
But maybe J.J. Taylor gets a bunch of chances and, really seems like he's blossomed. I mean, I'd love to see a guy like Duggar get a sack or an interception. Just make a splash play. Just give us, like we said, something to be excited about, a big play, maybe a nice.
I do like your Michael Jackson pick, though. He's a guy who's been on the practice squad all year, hasn't really had an opportunity. And then maybe he gets out there today and who knows, maybe he plays really well and they're like, he can, we have a chance to lose Gilmore and maybe he can be a depth piece. On the back end.
Yep.
I don't know.
Russell in Arkansas, would it be crazy to think that we re-sign both Tooney and Andrews?
Yeah.
Maybe start the rebuild with an O-line that has experience playing with each other and build your offense around them. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and and there's not really any depth at guard or center behind those guys, so they'll have to figure something out. I mean, I think it's a little bit much to ask for both, but I would probably just lean Andrews. He'd probably be a little bit cheaper, and we know what that center position means. We saw, I think he provided a little bit more of a boost last year than the running game gave us, and I think he's a key part in that. So Andrews is kind of the guy. Love Tooney. I just think left guard, and maybe you swap in on Wenyu over there. I think there is some question about where he ends up long term. So I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I feel like it's unless you got rid of Mason somehow, maybe you traded Mason so you could get some more money. Like that's an awful lot of money to sink into your interior three guys on an offensive line.
I agree. Ari in Finland says, I want to ask your thoughts about Patriots coaches. Pretty big change in the coaching staff in the last few years. Flores leaves, etc. Bill is the GOAT and Josh is great, but they can't do everything alone. Do you think the big change in the coaching staff have hurt the Patriots?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they didn't turnover for younger guys, and absolutely.
We haven't talked about Josh McDaniels and what your thoughts are in terms of his future with the team. Is it going to be here next year, Paul?
I think he is. I haven't really seen a lot of definitive stuff linking him to other teams. I know. I think NFL media had something today that sort of threw him in there for Houston. Him and Caserio. That sounds like one of those sort of, Well, it makes a lot of sense on surface kind of things, you know. But I haven't seen a lot of the stories linking him to these openings. Maybe it's because some of the openings haven't officially become open yet, like the Chargers, for example. I think people think Anthony Lynn is gone, but out of respect for him, he's still there, and you don't want to necessarily speculate. Elliot Wolf, guy in the personnel department, by the way, was in that same NFL media story as being a candidate in Detroit. So he could replace Bob Quinn there. So that could be a loss.
Yeah, I like Josh. I just think it's, the offense has underachieved the last 2 years, and with Brady and with Newton. I don't think really guys have developed. And I guess I just am, I don't want to say troubled, but, just kind of troubled with, Cam just talking about how complex the offense is and all this. And so I guess I'm just getting to a point now where, what if Brady had this offense down, but it's just like you're asking too much of new quarterbacks to try to, pick up a system that has been fine-tuned over, 2 decades and pick it up. So does there need to be some kind of a move? And that's why when they brought in Jed Fish this year, it's all right, a little bit of, new blood, a fresh perspective, and he's got to learn the system, so maybe that'll help him kind of translate it for the quarterbacks as well. So, we don't know exactly, how complicated, what that actually means, but I just think the proof is in the pudding. In the last 2 years, the offense has not been good enough. One time with Tom Brady at quarterback, one time with Cam Newton. Granted, completely different scenarios, but I don't think you can ignore that. I think that's something that has to be considered. And if you're going to develop a new quarterback here, what's the way that we can, best enable him to have success, especially if it's a young guy who's coming in here who doesn't have a lot of experience, or, a guy like Matthew Stafford or Carson Wentz, or all these, potential options. Are we going to be coming in next year and saying, wow, this is a really tough system to pick up, in like mid-October? It's like, at some point you got to make it to put the players in position to succeed. So I have my radar up a little bit just about that because of the lack of kind of development. The passing game has regressed the last 2 years. I mean, even you could say the last 3 years with going back to 2018 when, it was really the run game that kind of helped them to that Super Bowl. So we'll see. But I think it's definitely something to kind of consider.
And that is one of the things that I think could be pointing toward Josh maybe saying it might be time to go, because you wonder, okay, so if our offense is going in the wrong direction, and now it's becoming sort of clear to people I need to have a quarterback here to make my offense work. Maybe I don't want to have another bad year offensively, and then no one wants me. So that's why I worry a little bit about his flight risk. But like I said, I haven't really seen a whole lot around his name this year. A lot of people said, "Oh, it'd make a lot of sense to have him just work with Justin Herbert in L.A. with the Chargers."
Yeah,
but I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it a couple of times, but I don't know if that part of it is the year, the COVID year, or something. There hasn't been a lot of chatter about, coaching changes and who's going to take over.
But they have allowed that to become, you can interview more frequently because you can do it virtually.
Have you heard a lot about that in general, though?
No.
Generally.
Maybe we'll get into that next week, when the regular season's over after today, and maybe we'll get to see a little bit more of that tomorrow's Black Monday, and then we'll start to hear some of these interviews getting set up on Tuesday.
All right, we're going to do the Sunday Six-Pack after we talk to Tony in Canada. Tony, what's up?
Hey, guys. Happy New Year.
Same to you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I think this is one of the first games that I can remember in a long time that I actually was hoping the Pats would lose.
Yeah, you're not the first one to say that.
How you guys feel about that?
I don't think it matters. I would rather see him win today. I don't think you're talking about one or two positions in the draft. It doesn't. No, I'd rather see the Patriots win today.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, Tony.
And
but I get it.
Fine. I mixed feelings. Yeah. But how would you guys? My question is this: if you guys were sort of in say Bill Belichick's position, what would be your approach to doing a rebuild? Would it be my feeling is that I would try to go after a mature quarterback like Stafford or someone of that nature, Garoppolo, not trying to reach for a quarterback and make a draft, like to make a trade and try to get into the top, say, 5 or 6 to draft a quarterback, not really reach unless you need somebody, but go with a mature quarterback, like a replacement for Cam, and just go younger with those other supporting players. But lastly is this. let's look at Miami. Miami was in pretty bad position 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and now look where they are. So it's certainly possible. Anyway, I guess that's all that I want to say and get your guys' feedback on how you see them doing a rebuild.
All right, thank you. Tony, I would rather have a veteran. I would rather have somebody in here that you know right away as opposed to moving up. Now, if that's not available, I want them to move up. I want them to move up and get a quarterback that they feel really, really secure about.
And the Dolphins did that and got a quarterback.
Yeah,
now we'll see if he could play. I don't know if he got the right one, but I mean, you take a quarterback with the 5th pick. You didn't do it by getting the veteran.
Yeah. All right, we're going to step aside, as it turns out, and then we will come back and take care of our six-pack and wrap up this final Patriots pregame social of the season, which is fueled by Dunkin'. And don't forget, they've got your back. They make the ordering as easy as possible, get you in, out, and on the go, so you'll be feeling good to go. Just order through the Dunkin' app, pick up in-store, or from the drive-thru for a contactless experience. America runs on Dunkin'.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Order ahead on the Dunkin' app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Dunkin' fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes. You look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount.
Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
Wow! You gotta see the stats on that one! I shot at a TD, 14%. Defender distance, decimals. My only out, zero gravity, 6 points. Next gen stats powered by AWS.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Just to make me look ridiculous. And a man in my position can't afford to be made to look ridiculous.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Waltz is listening.
Thank you very much for calling in, and we'll continue to take some of these phone calls here, 855-PATS-500. webradio@patriots.com. Andrew has an email here. I think it's reasonable to say that Bill won't be able to receive both a first-round pick and a player in return for Steph Gilmore. But I think they could get one or the other. Do you think they'd be able to trade Gilmore for OBJ straight up? I think the Browns are a better team without him, and their weakness defensively is in the secondary. Thoughts? Question mark?
I don't know. That might be a tall price. I'm not a huge OBJ fan. I just think there's a lot more stuff they need to focus their resources on. But I think it's a second at best for Gilmore. I don't know if a team's going to give up a 1 for him at this point.
No, I think there's a chance that they could move up in the first round with Gilmore.
Yeah.
I think you could slide, somewhere maybe into the top 10.
Take your 14th overall and maybe slide up to
7.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
You get Gilmore, and we'll move up 7 spots. Why not?
That'd be amazing.
Something like that. I also don't think Cleveland's been better without OBJ, even though I agree with Mike. I'm not a huge OBJ fan. I mean, people just look, like
names.
Oh, they've won a couple of games. They just lost to the Jets.
Right.
They're not better.
He's got some incredible talent. I have a lot of questions about him when it comes to his actual makeup as a player and whether or not he's, going to be part of a winning team. I don't like when people say, what has he ever won? Like any one player goes out and wins by himself. This isn't it's not the NBA. No. It's not golf. You know, you're relying on a
Well,
lot of other
golf
people.
is what you ever won. Like team sports, in my opinion, don't work that way, but that's what people do.
I know. Well, what has he ever won? Oh, please. What are we doing? All right, Sunday six-pack. Let's do it.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to the position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Don't get it mixed, yeah. I came to win it, yeah. This is the Sunday six-pack.
We only had a one-pack last week.
Yeah, how'd we do in that one pack?
Mike and Paul went 1-0.
Undefeated.
Hardy, not so much.
Winless.
I did not cover. The Pats did not cover last
like
week.
the 07 Lions.
On the season, we have Paul at 45-23.
First
Mike,
of all, it was 08.
Mike 41-27. Hardy 30-38.
Ooh, I need a big day. I need a big day here to catch Paulie P. Perillo. How do we ever find out the results of these? We don't do a show next week, so we'll have to. I guess we'll have to announce it.
We'll talk about it.
Tuesday,
Whoa. Hold
Tuesday
on a
show.
second. That was my big question. Since there isn't a game last night, when does when does
the
our show
trophy
start next
presentation?
week? When does our show start next Sunday? We're not doing a show?
Just do a conference
You'll
call.
have to tune into Patriots Unfiltered to find out the results.
Yeah,
What am I supposed to
anyway?
But what am I supposed to do next Sunday?
I don't know, relax.
Spend time with your family.
Worst.
we got back-to-back triple headers next weekend.
Oh, it is. The next 2 weekends are the best NFL football.
It's also my anniversary, so I'll be out.
How many years, Paulie Paul?
18 years.
Crazy.
18 years.
It'd never be not crazy to me that like Mr. NFL got married like middle of the playoffs.
I was well. Not only that, like middle of his life. You know,
it was before the playoffs. Before the playoffs were a thing around
I've
here.
been married as long as you have, and you're a lot older than me.
I'm not a lot older than you.
But I got married
And that
late.
stopped becoming funny weeks ago.
You got married late for around here.
I did. 35.
That's late-ish. People thought you were. What's the male equivalent of a spinster?
I think you know.
Huckster? I don't know.
You know the
Just a gigolo.
You know Uncle Paul. He's a confirmed bachelor.
Confirmed bachelor.
Oh God.
Although I don't think anybody ever worried about that.
No. All right. No, he's never cared. Never. Never.
Dancing
mind.
in September.
Never mind. Never mind.
Wow, Uncle Paul's really getting down.
Wow, he can move. He's kind of dumpy. And,
Where'd he get those shoes?
But so wait, he's 30, almost 35, not married, but he's also not thin or well kept or neat. I don't understand what's going on with that guy.
But I did used to be. All of those things.
All right, let's.
Good news, we got
let's
it back up to 10.
We got to do the. Oh, come on, we're up against the clock now. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry, Matt.
We've got the 12-3 Pittsburgh Steelers versus the 10-5 Cleveland Browns. Cleveland -10.
Whew, I'll go first. I like Cleveland.
By 10?
Yes. How about that?
I'll take Cleveland, but I'm gonna take the points because I think it'll be close. But yeah.
So just so you know, Mike. In
shoot.
In
Am I
this
doing something
in this
wrong?
iteration, all we do is pick.
Oh,
with
we
the
only
spread.
do the pick. All right, so then just give me Cleveland.
So I am
I'm
with.
not gonna overthink it. I'll just take Cleveland then. If we're
now
just
I got to cross out.
Sorry.
Okay, I am going to take Pittsburgh because I think even though all their players aren't playing, I think they can keep it within 10.
I think you're probably. I think you're probably right. I honestly do, but I am going for the weekly win. That's all I'm going for.
Okay.
So I got a gun for each of you and what I think you're going to pick. So, Deuce, you're going to pick next.
Good news
week.
is you can't catch me. So
I'm not catching anybody. I want to win the week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's very Patriots-like of you.
Moving on, the 10-5 Miami Dolphins versus the 12-3 Buffalo Bills. Buffalo -1.5.
This is a tough one.
This is tough. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I think they hold at home. I know Tua's on his own. Probably see a little bit of Josh Allen to get the passing record, then he'll be out. But I still think Buffalo's got enough. I think Miami will stumble.
I'm going to go with Buffalo, too, because I think that Cole Beasley injury in the fourth quarter kind of freaked him out a little bit last week. What's the passing record that he's going for?
Yeah, I think he needs like 40 more yards for the team passing record, something like that.
Yeah, I'll take the Bills.
All right, so here's where I have to be real smart. I can't just pick against you guys in every single pick here because some of them I think are correct. This is one of them. So we're all taking the Bills.
All right, moving on to the 4 o'clock games. The 11-4 Seattle Seahawks versus the 6-9 San Francisco 49ers. Seattle -7.
Paul, you're up first.
I am going to take Seattle. I think their defense has been a little bit better the last month and a half, and I don't know if it's just an aberration or if it's like, Carlos Dunlap is, giving them some pass rush there. They've gotten some things straightened out up front, maybe getting some personnel back in, but I've been impressed with Seattle defensively, so I'll take the Hawks.
I just can't come up with a reason why I would take San Francisco in this game. You can talk yourself out of laying that much with Seattle. Why would you take San Francisco? I can't come up with a reason.
Yeah, I'm going to take San Francisco.
What's the reason?
Did you really?
Because I got to catch Paul. So I got to offset something here. So I'm going to go.
That's
I'm going to
so
go with
lame.
San Francisco.
So lame.
It's okay. I got to go for the win.
When you're
So
this good, they're
lame.
out to get you.
So lame.
Next, we have the 8-7 Arizona Cardinals versus the 9-6 Los Angeles Rams. Arizona -3.
All right. I believe the Rams can win this game outright. I will take the Rams.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. Backup quarterbacks going. I think we'll get a good game out of Kyler Murray to wrap up the season and get them in.
I'm going to take the Cardinals, too, because Mike did. I don't want him to catch me.
This is going to be fun. It's
No,
going to be bloody.
I want to pick the Rams.
Boy.
I can't get behind something named John Walford.
Yeah,
That's all right.
that's what it's called.
I'll see you at the finish line. I'll be there first.
Okay.
See you in hell.
Next, we have the 12-3
See
Green
you
Bay
next
Packers versus the 8-7 Chicago Bears. Green Bay -4.
My turn?
No, this is Deuce.
Oh. This is good. I get to
I'm going to
cheat
take
off
the
him again.
Packers. They're going to win.
And with that, I believe I have clinched. I will take the Packers as well.
Checkmate.
This is one that I have to pick with you guys. I, too, am taking the Packers.
Because I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same pick on the last one.
Which is
I don't know.
The 2-13 New York Jets versus the 6-9 New England Patriots. New England -3.
I think touchdowns shall be scarce in this game, and I think the Patriots will win a low-scoring, ugly, field goal-riddled 12-6 football game. So I'll take the Pats.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game. I think the Patriots are still going to play hard. They seem like they're still kind of preparing. And the Jets, I think they have the advantage personnel-wise, but I think rumors of Gase being gone, Darnold being gone, I think like at the end of the day that's going to offset a little bit. It'll give enough for the Patriots to pull out a 17-13 win.
All right, I like that total a lot, 17-13. I'm going to give the Patriots one more field goal from my man Nick Folk. I'm going to pick them by a touchdown, 20-13. Patriots win. So we all got the
What
Pats.
was it? 20 what? 20-13?
20-13
Okay.
All right.
So we're all on the Patriots.
We're all doing it. It'll be fun to go out there and truly, root them on one more time and just root for a big offensive day from Cam Newton just to see what he can do.
Yeah.
I mean, and
No pressure.
I firmly do believe that. I think part of him is going to be playing like that dog today. If he can channel his frustration, we saw some of it on the sideline last week. Apparently some of it was evident this week. First I had heard of him skipping out on his interview.
Yeah.
This week on the radio was when you guys talked about it on the podcast. I hadn't heard it until days after, which I think goes for a lot of people.
First I had heard about it was in the midst of taping a television show and having it directed my way.
Right?
Hold, please.
We're going to have to shoot this again. I know nothing about this.
I think a lot of people found out about it like much after the fact or still don't know, just based on the ratings. I would say that it's a weird week. People are out of their listening habits. They just
that, and I think it's one of those things. It's kind of like must listen to like the fellow media people. Like I don't think people around like I know everybody's like, oh, he's so great on like I don't think random people are like, oh, I got to hear what Cam says on radio this morning. Like I don't think that resonates with a lot of people.
It doesn't, and it doesn't with the coach. It doesn't with the quarterback. I think, you might tune in for some of the awkwardness sometimes.
Inside baseball.
But
Like,
nobody
people don't care.
None of these guys are ever saying anything.
Yeah, especially when you get to this point in the season where it's like, what more can Cam say?
Paid-
Like, we're watching it happen.
How many different ways can he say that I have to be better?
I have to be better.
Right.
It starts with practice.
It's not acceptable. We don't accept that in these parts.
Right.
And when we're doing these interviews, it's not exactly these guys sitting down with Mike Wallace and Morley Safer. I mean, and those interviews, I mean, it's like they're literally bought and paid for.
Yeah.
So, how contentious and are you going to be? And I include myself in these. Now, Patriots post-game show, that's a different story. Nobody's getting paid for these things. That's why we ask the hard-hitting questions.
Just get donuts.
Right. Well, whatever it takes. All right, gentlemen. Well, this was a great way to wrap up the Patriots pregame social for the season. A lot of fun.
I'm glad I was able to get back in. And
great to see you, Paul.
you never want to finish the season on IR.
No. Terrible way to finish off. You want to meet back here, say, after the game?
Maybe. We'll see.
Want to say like 3:55?
Oh, okay.
Fingers crossed.
3:55 p.m. We begin the post-game show. Don't be late. Even if the game's still on, we're going to start.
Just going, baby.
We'll talk to you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.